That sounds great. You know, when you're talking about being on the BBC, and the program title was World's Strictest Parents.
Yes.
And yet, what you're sharing with us is that your children enjoy doing these things. So
Yes.
what are you going to share with us? What kinds of wonderful things are you going to share with us right now that can help the parents? Where would you like to start?
Can I just start with the word strict?
Yes.
Because it seems to me that in our current society, we don't completely understand that word. We really don't. I think when people hear the word strict, they automatically think of a very stern, ornery, possibly angry, passive-aggressive, you know, whatever that really strict person looked like that was angry in their lives, and they go, there's no way I'm doing that. And that when their parents were angry at them when they were kids, they were like, I'm not being that way. And so they saw this angry way to be, and then they thought, I'm going to the extreme opposite. I am going to let my children choose everything, and I'm not going to be ornery like that. I'm just going to always be kind. And so what we've seen happen in recent years is this parenting revolution. Can I say that? Like that?
Go ahead.
It is. It's a term. I call it a parenting revolution. I am trying to be another voice in this cultural parenting revolution, because we're bombarded with voices all the time.
Yes.
And it's because, bless everybody's heart, they are trying to help where they see a problem. Except for most of the time it's not a full picture. That's the problem. It's like a Band-Aid or a trick or a whatever it is, it's not complete, and it's not principle-based. When they asked me, when the BBC said, they said, would you consider yourself a strict parent? And I said, well, no, I don't yell at my children or anything. And they said, well, would you let them get tattoos and go hang out at the pub with their friends?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, no. And they said, would you let them smoke? I said, no. And they said, well, then you're strict. So how's that? Just about everyone I know is strict.
I know. And, you know, that's something to celebrate, y'all.
It's just a traditional principle. You know, you don't let children do addictive substances. Anyway, so as I started looking into it, I looked up strict because a friend of mine, she was a different generation than me, much older, and she said to me, Nicholeen, you don't understand strict, because I was saying, I don't know if I like being called the world's strictest parent. Like, that just bugs me. And she said, you don't understand strict. She said, a strict parent doesn't need to yell. And I was like, she's right. A strict parent doesn't need to yell. So I went home and I looked up strict, and it said a person who governs themselves by specific principles. And then all of a sudden I went, I think I'm the strictest parent I know. So, because I definitely do. Everything goes back to the principles. And I'll tell you what that strictness does. It makes kids secure.
It does.
Really, really secure. And those two troubled teens that people will see on the movie, if you go there, you'll see on the movie, they were both 17 years old. And at the end of the movie, they're crying. They're just bawling on our shoulders. And what is not seen or heard at that moment is that those teens are saying, I'm sorry if I get just a little choked up here, but that way it was a beautiful moment. They were saying, please don't make us go. Can't we just stay here? We feel safe here. That just ripped my heart out.
I can tell.
Yeah, if you can imagine, you know, I wanted them to be able to stay too. I loved them. They were easy to love, even with all of the baggage they came with.
You know, when you watch that on her website, you'll have the same response. It was very heart-rending. It was emotional. There's no way to watch it and just, I can't imagine anyone watching it and not responding with your heart, knowing that they stand a chance at being successful in life. because of that interaction and opportunity that you gave them.
And they have done well. They really have. We don't have as much contact with Hannah. I wish we had more, but I think her family moves around a bit more and such. But James we have fairly steady contact with. He has gone back to school. He was a school dropout. He's now in the university.
Wow.
And when he came to our house, we read a wonderful book called The Dream Giver. I don't know if you've ever read it, but we read that with him, and he looked at me and he said, I have a dream. There's something I want to be. I want to be a fashion designer. And so he went back. He said, but I've got to go back to school or I can't do it. And so he went back and he went back to school and he went back home and he fixed the relationship with his mom. And he got off substances. And I mean, he made a miraculous change in his life. Really miraculous. I mean, in 8 days, that's big.
Yeah, it is.
That's
and to
really
hold
big
it, to make it hold.
Yeah.
That's the key. So, you know, when we're talking about the self-government, that it really is a key. That's a major key in it because so much goes along with that, the boundaries, the self-worth. I remember living in California at a time when this blows my mind. You couldn't mark an answer wrong for math. If the children didn't get the right answer, you didn't mark it wrong because you didn't want to hurt their self-esteem.
Oh, no.
Yes, and so, of course, guess what? I mean, you do that for a little while, and you have kids graduating who can't add.
Yes.
Or do other things, and it doesn't help their self-esteem. When you can't accomplish and you can't do things correctly.
No, there's no confidence there. In fact, you're teaching dishonesty.
You are, absolutely.
That is a dishonest thing to teach a children. And you know, some people when I talk about
shouldn't
praise.
Have said California now. I'm still going to get a lot of emails.
Well, it's not just California, right? It was like a cultural thing at the time.
Yes, it was.
Anyway.
It was part of a big wave of change that came about.
I spoke one time to a group, a very educated, fantastic group, and there was a woman who said, I was talking about praising, because I truly believe that if you praise your children when they really are doing positive things, when they follow instructions, and you don't just say, thank you, I appreciate that, and make it about you, but you say, you know, just now you looked at me and you stayed calm and you said okay, and then you just went and did it and you came back and told me when you were done. That is amazing self-government. You are so mature, and I feel very connected with you when you are, you know, able to do a skill like that, or however you want to say it, but when you praise them. So this woman said to me, she's like, well, isn't it wrong to praise children too much? And see, she was referring to that very thing that was happening where you're praising them without actually doing anything. I agree, that is bad. However, if you're correcting your children, which every parent should be, I do believe that you need to praise them 6 to 10 times for every one time you correct them.
That's true.
And maybe sometime when we're on here we can talk about how to correct, and I can show you how even during a correction I praise my children.
Excellent. Well, you know, we're really about giving some how-to skills, some real specifics.
Definitely.
So we will do that. So if we don't get to it today, definitely plan on us getting to that. In fact, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to invite you to run and get a pencil and paper, because actually Nicholeen is going to give you some specifics, and you're going to want to take some of these things down. She's got 2 lists that are really key. And for those of you that got the email blast that I sent out to everyone announcing today's show and talking about Nicholeen, I did put in there to run and get pencil and paper, make sure you came prepared. So we're going to take a break, give you an opportunity to go get that pencil and paper and get ready for some really great information coming out here, some real specifics that Nicholeen has learned and put together over these past 13 years or more, actually. So we're going to take a break. We'll come right back. You are listening to B.J. Stober and Nicholeen Peck on Family Voice Radio. So come on back.